Now, if you look at the next section, the United States invades Mexico. Once again, pause it anywhere along the way at the slides, at the PowerPoint presentation while I'm talking fast. Pause it if you need to answer some questions or go back over what I just said. Now it says here, in 15.6, the United States invades Mexico. The conquest of Mexico itself was far more difficult. American troops under Zachary Taylor battled their way south from Texas. Taylor was a no-nonsense general who was known fondly as Old Rough and Ready because of his backwoods clothes. After 6,000 troops took the Mexican city of Monterrey, an old enemy stopped them. Remember General Santa Anna? With 20,000 troops. In February 1847, they squared off. 2 days of hard fighting, many dead. Santa Anna was able to escape to save his troops. We had won that battle. A month later, General Winfield Scott, landed at Veracruz, Mexico, and began to march towards Mexico City. His nickname was Old Fuss and Feathers. If you check out his picture, he always had a big fancy suit on. For the next 6 months, he would march towards Mexico City, facing resistance all the way. Right outside Mexico City, we have the famous battle at the Castle of Chapultepec, where about 1,000 Mexican soldiers and 100 young military cadets fought bravely to defend the fortress. 6 of the cadets chose to die fighting rather than surrender. We're almost done. To this day, the boys who died that day are honored in Mexico as Los Niños Héroes, the heroic children. Despite such determined resistance, Scott's army captured Mexico City in September 1847. Watching from a distance, a Mexican officer muttered darkly, "God is a Yankee." So now the last section is the treaty. We signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Say that a couple of times, Guadalupe Hidalgo. Early in 1848, Mexico and the United States signed the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo. Mexico agreed to give up Texas and a vast region known as the Mexican Cession. So they ceded a huge territory, making up modern-day California, Nevada, present-day Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, as well as parts of Colorado and Wyoming. In this agreement, they ceded all that territory. We paid them $15 million to the Mexicans still living in that area. We agreed to allow them to stay. We agreed them to allow any Mexican in this territory to continue speaking Spanish. There were a lot of other arrangements in that treaty that are fascinating. In Washington, D.C., some politicians stepped forward, like the great Abraham Lincoln, a young congressman who said, "You know what, this is very unbecoming of the United States to take other people's property, to steal parts of other people's countries." And there was some opposition. The Mexican Cession was definitely the manifest destiny dream come true. The Senate, remember the Senate's in charge of ratifying treaties, the Senate ratified the treaty by a vote of 38 to 14. We had now achieved our dream of manifest destiny, from sea to shining sea. We later add one more little clip of land on the bottom of Texas. Please. We then add a little clip of land on the bottom of Texas called the Gadsden Purchase. It's a nice flat area where we're able to put railroads through to the west. Most Americans were pleased with the new outlines of their country. Still, not everybody rejoiced in this expansion. Now, get the last lines here. This is pretty powerful for a history textbook to say to students. But it says here, until the Mexican War, many people had believed that the United States was too good of a nation to bully or to invade its weaker neighbors. Now they knew that such behavior was the dark side of manifest destiny. As the 19th century progressed, more and more settlers were lured to the west by hopes of free land and an independent and prosperous life. Good night. Okay.
The stars at night are big and bright. Deep in the heart of Texas, the prairie sky is wide and high. Deep in the heart of Texas, the sage in bloom is like perfume. Deep in the heart of Texas, reminds me of the one I love. Deep in the heart of Texas. The coyotes wail along the trail. Deep in the heart of Texas, the rabbits rush around the brush. Deep in the heart of Texas, the cowboys cry, ki-yip-ki-yi. Deep in the heart of Texas, the doggies bawl. Deep in the heart of Texas, deep in the heart